All right. Good morning, good afternoon, um, good evening from wherever you are watching me from. All right. Alex Babbie recently um, went for an interview, and inside the interview, the 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 correspondence, which is the newscaster who was asking the questions. What they were trying to do, what I really noticed there is that they were trying to lure Alex Babbie out. Like, look, they wanted to look for something to hold him with. If you can check the kind of questions they were being asking him, eh? The kind of questions they were asking him is questions that will bring out his leg, so that the Nigeria government will now see what they will use to persecute him, just the way they did with Nnamdi Kanu, just the way they did with Simon Ekpa. Sure you get. But this guy is smart, so the answers he was giving is very very constructive. You know, it's very very constructive. I would like you to watch the interview, and watch the way Alex Babi was answering their questions. They were surprised. They were surprised. They wasn't expecting that. And while you watch, if it's your first time of coming around this channel, just drop your comment, what you think in the comment section, and give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. Peace.
Indeed, your comments, your actions, and inactions are found to have incited people to violence.
I understand the system in Nigeria. I understand very well that if they want to arrest anybody, or if they want to lay allegation on you, if they want to take you to court, they will use a media house to interview you and extract some things that you say. They will use it to go and file charges. It has happened so many times. It happens against Nnamdi Kanu, even more in the show, even time in the past. It happens to Simon Ekpa. It happens to so many people. I'm just trying to tell you that there is a system that Nigeria uses. So if they are suspecting you that you are doing something that they don't like, or the system doesn't like, they will ask a media house to get you on interview. Maybe they will ask, someone will come and lay allegation on you. Then they will not ask to come and respond to this allegation. So that was what happened to Alex Babbie. Alex Babbie, you remember Tinubu's aide came to TVC News and told the whole world that they deported Alex Babbie because he's trying to do what some persons did in Uganda and so on and so forth. So they now invited Alex Babbie, come and respond to what this lady is saying. So Alex Babbie came, and the interview was explosive. I'm still waiting to see the video on TVC News. I didn't see, so I took it from Alex Babbie to repost it. And that was an ambush. But the guy is smart, and it's not about smartness. It is when your conscience is clean, and when you are truthful. Like, you wake me up in the morning to ask me question about anything, I don't have to think. I'll give it straight to you, because when you are saying the truth, when you are doing the right thing, not from a political influence or religious influence, or you are induced, when you are free from all these things, even though someone is asking you question, you don't feel like you need to think about something. You give it raw the way it came. So that was what happened in this interview. Please, it's very important. Pay attention and watch it to the end.
Are you ready to be held accountable if indeed your comments, your actions, and inactions are found to have incited people to violence?
Which laws have been broken, can I ask?
Well,
and even more so, which incitement to violence has been done? I appreciate the prior remarks and context regarding different issues in Nigeria. I would say that it's despicable to try to compare me to anything in Rwanda. It truly is disgusting. When have I called to murder one person? I've never once called for anybody to be murdered. I have called for people to be protected.
No,
the government
Alex,
maybe not their job.
Alex, maybe not directly. Maybe not directly. You maybe not directly call it for revenge attacks, but from what you're telling the people, they get more agitated, and this leads to
defend themselves
violence.
From
yes,
killing.
To defend themselves. Then we have the government and security
do you not
agencies.
Protect your own daughter and son from being killed by terrorists? Is that wrong? Is that harmful rhetoric? To protect your families from terrorists? Because it's Christians that we're saying to protect themselves? Everybody should protect themselves. And anybody in their right mind, if they are being threatened, if their daughter, mother, father, anybody is being threatened to be killed, it is their right to protect themselves. If you cannot live in peace and you cannot protect yourself, what country is this? I mean, if you can't live, what is that? Anybody in their right mind would not want their families to be killed, and that's all I call for. If the government is failing to protect you, you should protect yourselves from people who would take your life. There's nothing wrong about that. There's nothing breaking a law about that. There's nothing evil in that. And from my understanding, even in Muslim and Christianity, you should protect yourself from threats. I'm not saying to go and take up arms and go murder the government. I've never called for that. I've never called for anybody to be murdered. I've never called to do anything regarding the government. I said, protect yourselves from people who would threaten your life. Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. No law has been broken.
There are also claims that there was a meeting you held with the local population, and after, talking to them, there was a reprisal, a revenge attack that also led to the death of two other people in Plateau State.
That was already done before I arrived. If you actually, what I noticed was the burning in the fire, the people had taken revenge, and that fire was actually where the attack happened, which I found out after I had left Angwarukuba. So they had killed two people, innocent people that were Muslims from what I was told, in revenge for the original attack. And those two people were in Akeke, from what I was told. And so they were killed before I arrived. So it's a false narrative to try to say, oh, because this person came that they went and did this. For 2 decades, have Christians not taken revenge after being attacked in Jos? This is nothing new. It's been happening for 20 years. Let me tell you this. The founder of the ministry that I work with in Jos, he was murdered by Muslims in front of the university. He was on the way back from a funeral because it was the middle of a crisis. He was cut into pieces, his body parts into pieces in the middle of a crisis. This was 7, 8 years ago. I wasn't there. So it's a false narrative to try to say that, oh, because a white man came, all of a sudden people are killing people. For decades, people are killing people.
Alex, you said something earlier that Muslims are also being killed. You talked about Zamfara, Katsina State.
Absolutely.
So why continue pushing a narrative that appears to support what they call now the Christian genocide? The question is, why does it appear your activity in Plateau State and indeed Benue State is making an already bad situation worse?
I would first pose the question, what that has been done has made it worse?
Well, your comments and the rhetorics you're pushing, calling on the local population to defend themselves.
Yeah, so I don't really see which comment has been insightful. The terrorism should end, that the government should be doing everything in their power to protect innocent people, Muslim and Christian alike. I've been very vocal about, obviously, the Christians who are being killed across Plateau, Benue, Taraba, those types of states. But I've never rejected, and I've directly talked about the violence happening in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Sokoto, and Kwara. I mean, the ones who were killed in the Woro massacre, which you're very aware about, were primarily Muslim people. There's still hundreds of people that are in captivity that were kidnapped, both in Kwara, and then also, we saw recently with ISWAP and Boko Haram in Borno State, hundreds of people that are still in captivity. And so the things that I have said, I would say that I would ask people to show me and tell me specifically what rhetoric and what words are causing anything. Because for me, I've called that, yes, innocent people should be defending themselves. In America, we can do this. In America, you have more guns than you do people. And so, this type of issue can't even really happen in America, because if I were to go to someone else's house, they would defend themselves. Yeah, no, it's 100% truth. Like I said, Muslims are being killed in Nigeria. This can't be questioned. It's a fact. But there's two things that I want to really be clear about, okay? If you say that Christians are being killed and there may be a Christian genocide, that doesn't mean that Muslims are not being killed in Nigeria. And so I want to be very clear about that. what I am saying and what I have seen with my own eyes and what I've heard from Christians and Muslims alike in Nigeria, there's two things. In Zamfara, in Borno, Kwara, Katsina, Sokoto, Muslims are being killed, Muslims are being kidnapped, hundreds, thousands of villages have been burned. It's pure evil. Across the Middle Belt, specifically in Plateau, Kaduna, Benue, Taraba, the truth is that Christians are directly being targeted. That can't even be disputed. And the question that I would ask is, if this is not the case, how many Muslims and how many Fulani people have been killed? How many of their villages have been burned in these states? So again, I'm only referring to Plateau, Taraba, Benue, Kaduna, those places. Fulani cattle herders are not killing their own people. They're not burning their own villages. They're going and targeting Christians in their villages. And so that is why we are saying, okay, in these states, Christians are being targeted. We're not saying Muslims are not being killed and Muslims are not suffering across Nigeria, because they are. That's the truth. It's a fact. And I've never said anything different than that.
All right, Alex, I would ask you now, it has been alleged that you're serving the interest of foreign influences. How do you explain allegations that you were invited by a certain aide to the former governor of Benue State to push certain political agenda in Nigeria?
If I were to respond to every allegation, I would never move from a newsroom. The reality is that people will continue to allege anything they desire, anything they think. And what I would say is, if you want to allege something, then there needs to be evidence or proof of such. You can't just say that I'm going to allege that this person is this person is that, this person has done that, but I have no proof of that actually being done. So if someone wants to say, oh, this person is CIA, he's a foreign operative, foreign agent, what shows that I'm a foreign agent or a foreign operative?
Well,
is there any type of proof or evidence at all? And even more so, which CIA operative or foreign agent is in the public eye? I mean, everything about me is public. I don't try to hide anything. You can see my life, my history, where I play football, what state I'm from, where I do work, what countries I go to, what I've built. I'm very open. I have nothing to hide. So it's on the burden of the people to show proof, not for me to disprove false allegations with no proof.
All right, countries. Is this about a push for Nigeria's mineral resources, or it is truly about peace and finding lasting solutions to the conflict? And how exactly are you even working with government whose primary responsibility is to ensure the safety of lives and property?
Which minerals have I sought? I haven't done anything regarding any minerals. I've never made comments regarding minerals. I've never touched a mineral. I build churches, I build schools, I rebuild villages that have been burned. I stand for the oppressed. I stand for freedom. I stand for the innocent people to protect themselves from terrorists and people that would take their lives. I've never discussed minerals. I have no interest in minerals. I don't even know what minerals there are in Nigeria. I know there's tin because I saw tin miners mining in Ladi. So I don't know where these allegations come from outside of people that simply are trying to slander, trying to spread misinformation and propaganda, to try to silence me, to discredit me, to try to shade over the work and the things that I am saying and what I am doing. But the reality is that truth is my greatest defense, because truth cannot be argued. A fact cannot be argued. Allegations can be argued, and this is an allegation. But when there's no proof and there's no facts, there's nothing for me to say. I can't disprove, but there's nothing to respond to.
All right, then. Alex, what next for you? You have left the country. You deny claims or allegations or claims that your visa was revoked, but now you have left Nigeria. You're in Florida. Are there plans to return to continue with your work?
Absolutely. I actually went to Kwara. I wasn't even supposed to be in Plateau during this mission. I went to Kwara to rebuild Woro. And when I got there, between the government, the governor, the chairman, military, they said that we're not allowed to rebuild Woro village. They said there was a heightened security risk in that area. And so I had to reshape everything. I had to drive 20 hours through the night back to Plateau to figure out what I'm going to do and to reallocate those funds specifically for building in Ladi. And so I'm waiting to still go back to Kwara to build for Woro. I have money specifically for that in the account for rebuilding. And so we're currently drilling. We're rebuilding a village in Ladi. And so we even did some building in Kebbi. And so, yes, I absolutely have plans to be coming back to continue that work. That Alex, is what I do. And I'm waiting to